What is going on, everyone? It is time for Division 2 here at the old Suzuka, just like last night for Division 1. And just like with Division 1 last night, we have a very impressive number of drivers showing up today, so that's nice to see. So at least we'll have fewer people to have to pay attention to while the race is going on, so we've got that going for us. So it looks like we have a few people already heading out. Looks like, according to telemetry here, it'll likely be a little cloudy towards the end of the race, but we are full dry, just like last night. So we should be able to see just another exciting medium-hard race. I'm sure everyone is very, very thrilled for the tires in this game. We have Spanini here, one of the likely pole sitters for tonight's race. Spanini on his first push lap here, showing in his practice before, as we sat in general voice chat, showing a PB of 27.7. I think pole yesterday was a 27.0 by the one and only Marcel Pabst. So we are rolling through. Maybe we might have one more if they make it. We'll see. Tab out for a second because someone wants to. The glorious Jeff wants to use my telemetry, apparently. So hold on, let me see. There you go, Jeff. Enjoy some telemetry. I'll be sure to confuse you by moving around the grid. So yeah, Spanini going through here. Obviously, as he's the first one out, he has set fastest first and second sector. Actually, really impressive sector 1 time, if I recall, from yesterday's times. No, actually, no. We were seeing low 31s. He is at 31.9 in the first sector. So we're looking at 28-something here for Spanini. Or, let's see, big snap there as he goes through turn 18. So 28.4 for Spanini as the first lap here. I apologize if you guys are hearing any Discord bloops in the background. Gunner with the 45.5. So Gunner, who's kind of just a last second addition. He decided that he will join us tonight. So I'll kind of roll around here. We have Renzler here with the 34.0 on those intermediates, selecting to save a set of soft tires for the race. Now remember, we're not running any sprint tonight. We were scheduled to have sprints, but, well, the game doesn't allow us to turn off sprint qualifying, and we don't want to run 2 sessions of qualifying because we will have a 2.5-hour session, and no one wants to do that. We're basically 2 hours maximum. So, don't want to waste everyone's night. I believe here we may have Joel, who just cleaned his pedals. He had some pedal issues last time around at Spa, which caused him to lose out a lot and having to retire from the race. He was actually cleaning his pedals just before the race, so let's see what Joel has in store for us here. I'd imagine he might be somewhere in the 29s. Oh, Nathan, what's going on, dude? Welcome to the show. Nathan can't hear me. Now Nathan can hear me.
Here we go.
What's up, Nathan? All right. So we got that.
Go ahead.
I'm just sitting here just talking about qualifying. Nathan, last night you had a pretty spicy race. Lots of spicy things happening. I remember correctly, you finished P5, is that correct? Is that right?
Yes.
P5. So I know there was a big battle. Kind of the train, you guys had a pretty big train. I think it was you, Castleman, Maxime, and I think Grid Jokes. You guys were basically just driving nose to tail for like that entire race. Was there? We kind of know at this point with this game that basically every track, no matter what, is going to be medium to hard. So like the only strategy is really a big lockup from Joel as he's on his in lap at the hairpin. But the only real strategy options that we kind of have right now is simply when do you pit.
Yeah.
Was there a lot of thought going into that strategy for you last night?
Well, so the only thing that kind of like affected my strategy, of course it was still going to be a medium to hard for me, but I believe his name was Race Day in the RB, who replaced Magnuson Cube. From now on, he undercut me, so I pit the lap after just to avoid that undercut, but the pit window for the medium should be anywhere from as early as lap 9, which I think was when he pit, to lap 12 is when I find those are when the pit stops will be made. And if I can get an invite, that'd be great.
Oh, right. That's the thing we also have to do.
Alrighty.
Why did that guy?
Yes, I'm here. Great.
I accidentally invited Marcel Green also. Hopefully he doesn't join. I don't know how I just sent him 3 invites, but I did.
Wow. 12 driver grid tonight, huh?
We have Roldy running late, so maybe he'll join. Madewell setting the fastest lap there on his second push lap. With a 28.3. So we do expect Pole to kind of be in the 27s once we get around to the end of the session. Hop on board here with Kaginis and his McLaren as he heads down the back straight towards Sector 3 and 130R. Not using a ton of battery on the back straight. I noticed yesterday, I think we hopped on board with you for one of your push laps. It seemed like you basically banked up your whole battery and then you just put overtake on that entire back straight.
Yeah, for me, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead. No, it's...
Yeah. I found that was the best strategy, kind of, because you use like all these tiny bits on, say, like the front straight and any other small straight that you have, and you just don't have enough battery to get yourself down to the line. Like, even if the battery usage was minimal, I found that just doing the back straight and then down to the line, that's the best way to pretty much get all of your overtake used and still make it to the line with a full battery. So yeah,
right there from Nathan. And as he was speaking there, we actually saw Chunks at the fastest first sector and then at Spoon just go flying off the track. So a little bit of a rough start for Chunk there, even with that nice first sector. So we'll see if he does look like he has enough fuel to go again. Looks like we'll hop on board with him as he is going to start another push lap here. See the McLaren slow on the track. I believe that may be Kaginis back there. Oh, it's actually Joel. So Joel, off the exit of the second Degna corner, he is into the wall. I believe he's
front wing end plate. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, definitely has some damage, but I believe he's on his in lap. So I'm wondering if he's having some brake issues again. I'll have to kind of hop on board with him next time he tries to go out. So hop on board here with Chonk again. Let's see if he can improve. So 31.908 for his first sector time last time around. Actually, in a bit of an improvement. He invalidates. So he actually did improve on that first sector time, but then immediately invalidated when going through those Degner corners. So nice little bit of pace there from Chonk, but yeah, just a little unfortunate for him there. Let's see. We have Gunner maybe pushing here. Gunner, yep, just starting his second push lap here. About 7.5 minutes left in our quali session.
Going on board through the S's, it looks like he used quite a bit of his as he gets a little bit on the inside curb. You want to pretty much avoid all of these curbs through the first sector or they will kind of spin you around. Want to get close to the one on the left here and not try and go over the one on the right. But he's made it through well so far. Pretty much flat out this right-hander. Goes for a lift and a downshift, plays it safe, and then don't get on the exit curb here or it will lose you time. And then into the trickiest corner I found in the race last night, the hairpin. It's very easy to not have a lot of speed, especially if you're in third gear like he was. Not sure if he's backed out yet, but I think he's actually still going. Want to stay kind of in the middle of the track. There's a lot of bumps on the right side, but down into Spoon curve, tweak the brake bias, throw it as far as you can onto the right side curb, and then bring it back in for the left-hander. and not carrying the most speed, not the best line through there either, but now using his battery down at the second straight into 130R, fastest corner I believe on the F1 calendar, and down into the chicane. Make sure you got your brake bias. Well, I've messed that up a few times during the race, and it will throw you around, and then keep it close to the right hand side as you finish your lap. He doesn't, but that's what you should do, using all the battery to go P7, so 130.026.
A nice little 6.7 improvement for Gunnar. Times are a little bit wild right now. I believe we have combined actually doing a real push lap here as he heads towards the hairpin. Now you mentioned that after the second Degner corner, you avoid the exit curb.
Yeah, the second exit corner. So I found that if you go too far over it, you kind of bottom out. So you kind of, yeah, what I've found is the strategy for the second Degner curb is that you always brake a little bit early. That way you can get the car turned in nice, kind of get that, there's a tiny bit like a bank on the apex of the corner, so you want to find that and then power through the rest of the corner, avoiding that curb. That's how you gain the most time, I feel.
And as you say that, we have Giorgio, who missed the race with us last week at Spa, putting himself on pole, so setting the fastest sector 2 and 3 on that lap. A little bit more time in there with an improved sector 1, but he puts himself on provisional pole. Bagwell and Spanini just sitting in the pits for now as they wait for their final push lap. Now, going back to what you're talking about, the exit of the Degner curve, that's a very bizarre way. I do remember when we were doing our test races before we had started this season, when the game had first come out, we raced around here, and I do remember that curve being very odd, very peculiar. Because like when you do like iRacing or really any other sim, you're going to take a lot of that exit curve. You're going to carry as much speed as you can, use as much of the track, and you go all the way out there. So it's possible that those games are maybe out of date, maybe they've changed it, or just these cars just have to drive so low they just can't really use that anymore. So it's maybe just this game is weird because this game is weird kind of moment.
Yeah, it wasn't either of those two first ones. I think it's just that this game is not too good. Because I don't think that curb is actually raised as much as it's shown in this game. But yeah, the cars just bottom out so much, so it could be a combined factor of those two that really emphasizes it. But yeah, any other game, you take it all, but not this one.
Hop on board here with Joel Guron as I believe he's on his push lap here. No, his battery is not going. Well, his battery is on, so I believe he is pushing. So a 29.5 even for him on his previous attempt here. Let's see if Joel can improve as he heads through Spoon Corner here. Nice line, not too understeery, a little bit maybe nice amount of curve on the inside of the second corner there. And now with the Nathan strat here to dump his entire battery here down the back straight, holding the tightest line he possibly can as he heads towards 130R.
Yeah, and I've noticed that he doesn't have a front right end plate. At least on my screen. It doesn't look like he's driving with an end plate either, so yeah, he'll come into the pits. I noticed like the line was really good through Spoon, except it was just maybe 30 kilometers too slow through both of the apexes, and then I look off board, and sure enough, there's no end plate on that car.
Yeah, he's sitting with about 30% front wing damage, so yeah, definitely pretty solid racing, all things considered, right? So we have Kagenis' teammate now, I believe, is pushing a lot of batteries. Battery's quite low for the exit of Hairpin, already under 40%. But we'll see. I mean, I guess the green bar is the bar that matters, not the actual percentage. Let's see. Ooh. Big snap, just taking way too much of that inside at that first corner of Spoon. So he'll have to back out. He may not have enough time to go back around. Let's take a look. Now he has basically no fuel, so that'll end his qualifying. 29.8 will be where he finishes. Looks like we have a few people already out on track. I believe we will have, looks like, Gunnar in the Kick Sauber will be the first one to cross the line and begin his final attempt. And I believe that is Chonk behind him. Chonk, who has shown some nice pace, but has yet to put a lap together. So this will be his final opportunity to do so. Yeah,
and it looks like Gunnar may find some traffic. Normally we do a pretty good job of getting out of the way, but this track is kind of tricky with all its twists and turns to get out of the way. But not carrying too much speed on the exit of the final corner. So Gunner's going to go down to the line for his final lap using his battery down the main straight. You know, it's another way to do it, not the way I'd do it, but he's going to dump a lot actually,
Yeah,
down
he
to
held his
50%.
battery. Yeah, usually, you have the idea of, very understeery through turn 2 there. But there's kind of the idea of you spend a little bit of battery going up to the start-finish line because that doesn't actually count as your deployment. So, but yeah, he just carried that thing all the way down the straight. So, maybe a little bit of inexperience there, and also maybe a little out of practice because again, he actually signed up to reserve like 10 minutes before we started. So, but he's not in last place. He's got that going for him. So Gunner, maybe a little giant lockup as he goes to the hairpin, but Spanini, who is vying for pole position here, is going through the S's right now with Chonk a little bit behind him. So he's going to head up turn 7 towards those Degner corners up here. And we'll see how is he doing compared to his relative lap time. So he's up by just under a tenth right now. You kind of see the car bottom out as he kind of went over that exit curve, as you mentioned, but not too much of an issue for him here. Very tight on the hairpin, very wide on the exits. A very competent line there. We have Roldy already retiring, just not making it to the line. He will start at the back of the grid. Very wide through Spoon here. Very nice line on the exit there. Maybe could have had a little bit more of the apex, but still very smooth for him. So not using a ton of battery on the exit there because he used a lot before. So shows purple middle sector for Spanini. And that is purple middle sector, so this is potentially pole if he can nail these final couple of corners. He's able to thread that needle and stay valid and dump that rest of that battery as he crosses the line for a 28-1. So here, let's see, you have Giorgio going through the hairpin. We have Nadewell coming down 130R right now as he heads towards turn 16. Hard to see where he is. Actually, Nadewell is purple through the first two, so Spanini's in trouble for this right here. Nadewell, what's he going to do? Is he going to get into the 27s? 27.7 for Nadewell, so big lap for him. Giorgio has backed out at Spoon. Chonk improving up to P4 with his first actual valid lap. Rigraff coming through turn 16, but he is actually up on his time. So he may actually go into the pits here. No, he's going to go to the line. A very wide line, though. No improvement there for Rigraff. And I believe Slick Goku coming, the last one through, and he just goes right into the pits. There's going to be Kiwi actually here. Kiwi coming through turn 17 here, and then now through turn 18 on the battery. Let's see, Kiwi well down the order right now. Big improvement, so 4/10 moves Kiwi up into P9, and that is our qualifying order. So Roldy not setting a lap, but Nadewell putting it on pole by about 3/10, or just under 3/10. So very nice showing from these guys. A nice recovery for Chonk after struggling at the start of qualifying. Still kind of a little bit of qualifying woes for combined. Being consistently out-qualified for Chonk is a bit of a surprise, but at the same time, this is a weird game, and so weird results are expected.
Absolutely, and Spanini in the second division, I feel like he's always kind of up here, no matter what the game is, so some level of consistency from him there, but still yet, I think, to put it on pole this season. I don't know if I'm correct there. I think Peter got 2 of them, so yeah, in the Alpine so far, he's been doing a good job, but in the race, I know that he kind of gets messed up, one would say. So, we got a tricky track, 28 laps of it. It only takes one error to completely mess up your race, but we'll see, as we have a grid penalty for the Ferrari, who's at the back anyway, but...
So Roldy actually won't be starting at the back, I believe. As soon as I joined the session, I think Rensler drove into the back of Kagenis on the exit of the pit lane. It gave him a 5-second grid, or 5-place grid penalty, so not a huge change, but a little unfortunate. Yeah, hopefully, yesterday we had only 14 people, and everyone finished, but now 13. Let's see if we can't get 100% finish rate here. That would be nice to see. Looks like we actually had a couple of people. We had Chonk, Spanini, Nadewell, Rensler, and Joel only used 2 sets of soft tires. So if a late safety car does happen, which is very unlikely, they will have something of an advantage towards the end of the race. Now, if one thing I did forget to do, like I did last night, is tell everyone to wait. So I'm sure someone's going to ready up too soon, and oh well. Well,
Yeah, and I'm actually starting in the Red Bull here, so I'll be sure to retire. Uh, I'll give you a play-by-play of what goes on.
I'll definitely have to hop on board with you. See all the carnage from the back.
Yeah, I'll just pace car the the first lap, I guess. But shenanigans. That's sad. I wanted to do the start, but I'll let you know if anything happens in the back here. And
Well,
yeah,
so
someone has started.
far, oh, someone has started. Okay, well, oh well.
I don't even know what my clutch button is here.
Oh boy. Well, if you can't
All
get
right, you're
started,
a
you
go.
can't crash into anyone. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right, here we go. Nadewell on pole with Spanini right beside him. And we are underway, and we are also riding on board with Nathan Doan. Nothing but smoke up here, so we'll move up here. It losing a couple of positions. Little racy as we go through here. Looks like Rigraff going really wide, losing a position there. Joel getting advantage there. Nadewell holding his P1 as we go through Sector 1. A big gaggle of cars back here being led by Kiwi right now. They're almost 4 wide, going side by side with Rensler. As we head up towards turn 7, looks like a lot of contact between Kiwi and Rensler there, but it looks like they're holding their own for now. Nathan's still driving.
Controller masterclass.
Controller masterclass. If you cause a safety car, we will have violence.
There's carnage in the hairpin.
A little carnage in the hairpin. Looks like so far a clean lap with Nathan falling out the order. Nathan falling. Oh,
And I think retiring on track will cause a safety car, no? So I have to go.
No, I think you're okay. You're actually better off probably retiring on track.
All right. A little bit of a cameo there, but happy to retire.
So if a safety car came out, that would be hilarious. That would be very expected for this game.
Okay, I'm back.
All right, so far, everyone within 1 second. Excuse me. Bit of a sneeze there. Chonk actually losing a little bit of time there as we go through the final corner for the first time. Nadewell, Spanini, and Giorgio pulling away a little bit. Chonk getting back within 1 second of our front runners. Looks like combined is really close to Rigraff here for P5. Kagenis losing out to Kiwi in front. It looks like Slick Goku may have had a bit of a moment there. No damage, it looks like, but he definitely went off track as he lost a couple of positions, both Kiwi and Kagenis. So there is back up towards the front again. Giorgio and Chonk losing out to the front runners of Nadewell and Spanini. Spanini actually a little bit on the outside of that delta also. Joel really aggressive here, showing off some nice pace. So these brakes definitely seem to be working for him as he is really putting the pressure on combined as they were going through those Degna corners. And a big slide there for him under the brakes.
Yeah, something crucial that I think is pretty much necessary in this track alone is that you need to change your brake pies for these corners or just run it high enough so that you don't lock up the rears in the hairpins. And Joel may have forgotten to do that because he has a big moment on the exit of, I think that's still called the second spoon curve, yeah?
Yeah.
And yeah,
So
onto the grass, and now he has the Ferrari.
Yeah,
Go
a
on.
little bit Rensler right up his butt there. So he loses about 2 seconds to combine in front of him. He's got a lot of work to do to catch back up, and Rensler will have DRS. Ooh, Rensler going off the track, just completely cutting the chicane. Rejoining, and he is ghosted, so he falls all the way back to the back of the order. Roldy, the only person on hard tires, maybe not have gotten the memo yet, as that is he continues to do that. Kiwi overtaking Joel with the help of DRS there. But now our front runners of Spanini and Nate are pulling away from the rest of the field. Giorgio in a kind of no man's land between them and, actually Giorgio under 1 second now. So yeah, I should be catching up with Chonk falling off, and Joel Joel
Oh,
down the order again. So Joel, I think in turn 4 or 5 there, going off the
oh,
track.
was jeez. Rinsler nearly fully looped the car and into the wall, but it's pretty forgiving this game. Sorry to keep interrupting, but every time I go on board with someone new, it's like they're spinning out or making a move.
So Chonk actually are struggling a little bit, losing a bit of time to Giorgio as that delta has gone up almost a second in just the last quarter lap, it seems. Giorgio just flirting with that DRS delta to Spanini in P2. You have a little bit of a train forming here from P4 to P5, but that incident with Joel and Rinsler kind of having moments has created a gap between Combined and Kiwi. So now Kiwi is kind of stuck on her lonesome here in P7 as there's no DRS behind, no DRS in front yet. Combined though, maybe looking for a move on Rigraf going into turn 16, but backs out. He should potentially may have an opportunity, but Rigraf is within the DRS of Chonk, but Combined is super close, so he's gonna make that move. It looks like Combined just has a lot less downforce than Rigraf because his top speed there going into turn 1 was a lot higher, and they both had DRS. He goes super wide into turn 2, and Rigraf almost maybe thinks about trying to make a move happen there.
I don't know if you're seeing this on board with Combine, but he is all I don't know how to explain it. It's very, very choppy, yeah, but
yeah.
he's made it ground on his team. But what was that? Giorgio had a
kinda
moment
on turn 7 there. Now he is back in this fight here as I have to sneeze again.
Yes, the RB driver finds himself in a Mercedes sandwich now, and yeah, just a lot of twitches. That was a very interesting rejoin, I have to say. I think it would have been safe had he been carrying more speed, but yeah, it looks like he got on the exit curb there, just bottom out a little bit and tried to get it back onto track. And yeah, so now the DRS is definitely going to be broken for P3 right now. But we look back towards the front, Spanini using a bit of his battery on the back straight to try and catch this Williams. The Williams is faster in a straight line, it seems, without using the battery. Definitely a 40% advantage there. But the Alpine will stay in the DRS for one lap longer. I think the gap that you want to be in to make a pass on this main straight here is about 4/10ths the gap going in through the chicane. So not having that this lap around, very unlikely to make an overtake.
Rigraf struggled on the brakes there as he went through turn 16, losing a little bit of time to Giorgio and Combined. But for right now, the order still remains. Giorgio holding position behind Chonk. Actually, Giorgio dumping a lot of battery, maybe looking for a move, but this is not the place where you can really make any kind of overtake happen as they move through the S's.
Whoa. What a move by Hokage down the inside of Gunner through the S's. He saw a gap open and he completely went through that, so probably the best move of the race so far. Never see overtake in the S's, but now we do. So keep on going through this this little sector to the start of it. It's very easy to have a moment here, so I feel like that's where we're going to see lots of moves being made, just capitalizing on this. We got a little bit of a DRS train from Chong down to Rigraf, and yeah, so right now it could be anyone's podium, at least the last step of it. And yeah, down the straight we'll take a little bit of a look. What I'm kind of seeing right now is Combined is trying to make a move on Giorgio, but Giorgio is not letting that happen. But as a result, he's kind of having to go offensive on Chong too.
So one thing we did see yesterday was when Race Day pit, he had an enormous undercut on the entire field that he was racing against, putting himself just outside the leaders. Is Combined going down the inside of Rigraf there, or
Giorgio had a big moment, and Combined, yeah, did get past Rigraf, but Giorgio tried to go around the outside of the chicane on Chonk and took a bit of grass and just completely looped the car. So, had me wincing for sure. Sorry to interrupt once again.
You're good. So, like, that incident causes Rigraf to kind of, or Kiwi to fall, or catch back up with Giorgio now here. Giorgio falling out of the DRS of the two Mercedes and Rigraf. Joel fighting his way back up the order after going off track like 12 times in the first 3 laps. Like his brakes issue is finally under control as he overtook Connor just a few moments ago. Back up here with Rigraf, this train. One thing that you kind of notice is as you're going through the S's, it seems like if you're behind somebody, you get really, 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 really close heading up into the hairpin. Actually, it looks like Combined is Chonk and Combined are swapping places, so I guess a nice place to swap positions there. If you were going to, as they did. Curious as to why. But I guess Combined, maybe he feels like he has more pace than Chunk right now. Maybe he can tow them along. We have another, but with the incident from Giorgio last lap, we have another bit of train here forming with Kiwi and Slick Goku, and then potentially Kagenis. Now, Kiwi may have a nice opportunity here to slingshot into that train in front of them, being currently led by Combined. So Kiwi on the battery there. Looks like Kiwi is going to make this move happen on Giorgio into turn 1. Giorgio very close to actually crashing into the back of Kiwi there, but actually not getting too much time. Actually, nope, back down to 1.5. So if a nice lap from Kiwi can put them back in the fight here for this podium position, as the leaders are now 7 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. Look at that, Kiwi under 1 second, so a big push from Kiwi. Now we have a big train here, so this mistake from Giorgio actually helping out a lot of the field to get back in this fight for a potential podium.
Yeah, and as unlikely as it seems, with the tire advantage that Hokage will gain, he could even be, if something goes incredibly awry, he could be in the fight for the podium too. So we could see an Aston Martin masterclass, but I think what needs to happen right now is these two Mercedes to work it out together. You know, combined, not with a battery advantage. So if Chonk wants to overtake, I think he should, as we have a big moment for Rigraff on the exit of the second spoon curve. And now the gap for P3 and P4 just kind of flirting about going over 1 second here, but he does gain time through this, and I feel like you do get a little bit of a tow through 130R, which helps you a ton to get the DRS, as I don't really know what I'm watching with Combined here. Like, sometimes it seems like he's having a big slide, but then he's fine. As Rigraff almost dropping out of the DRS gap, as Kiwi is going to go for an overtake down the inside. Now we have Giorgio also going around the outside of Rigraff. 2 positions lost for the Aston Martin driver at the end of a straight, and I don't know if there was a moment involved. Meanwhile, in the back we have Rinsler getting past Gunner, but Kiwi is right up to the back of the 2 Mercedes now. So great job from the Red Bull driver.
Kiwi so far making really nice use of a couple of mistakes from Giorgio and Rigraff. Rigraff just having a big moment under braking as he went into turn 16. But now it's nice to see that these trains kind of came together here. Kagenis kind of falling out of it right as soon as it kind of gets back together. So a little unfortunate for him. But that gap from P2 to P3, 8.5 seconds already. And they are lapping significantly quicker than the rest of the field right now.
Yeah,
Spanini
the front 2
just kind of content to just roll behind Nadewell for now. He has not taken the lead of the race since this race started. Whereas we've seen a lot of other overtakes. A lot of overtakes behind them, so I wonder if Spanini is just hanging on for dear life or if he's just biding his time and just letting Nade tow him away from the rest of the field.
I think you may have spoken at exactly the right moment, because Spanini is close enough, and now going on the overtake and the DRS, but Nadewell with the battery, so I wonder if that's kind of what's going on here, is that Nadewell's just going onto the battery at the right time, dumping about 40% of it down the main straight, and Spanini just not able to go, and Giorgio into the pit.
Giorgio, the first one to pit, so pitting the same exact lap we saw Race Day pit on the same team, so definitely some team communication here, and we saw Race Day make excellent use of that undercut. It's just his tires fell off just way too fast at the end. He had insane tire wear yesterday compared to everyone else, and then getting that penalty, ruining that potential podium that he was fighting for. So we'll see. Will Giorgio be able to kind of match what Race Day did yesterday and put himself, well, that turn 1 is definitely not going to help him, but he's back on track.
Yeah, so I'm just watching. Go on.
I was going to say, this pace difference between our leaders and Combined right now. Combined is lapping in the mid to low 33s, whereas Nadewell and Spanini are in the high 31s and low 32s. So that definitely explains why the gap is so high, but Combined driving in clean air, definitely struggling a bit here. Rigraff actually falling off of the DRS train of Kiwi. So Slick Goku might have an opportunity here to make some moves to get kind of slingshot himself back into the train. But with Giorgio pitting here, I'm curious, will we see someone else pit? Will we see Nadewell pit? Will we see Spanini pit?
I think the person who needs to pit right now the most, as the Goku gets past Rigraff in 130R, beautiful move, is Kiwi. Kiwi really needs to pit here. That way, I don't know if it's she or he, and yeah, the Red Bull driver does pit, and they may be able to overtake the two Mercedes with this undercut, and Slick Goku gets a 10-second penalty. I know that pain as much as anything, but I think it was the right call for a lot of these drivers here. They're going to be able to get past the two Mercedes. Those are the only two people in this race that can work together for a podium position right now, and if they can get undercut, that's going to change it up a ton.
And so here we have Kiwi coming out with Giorgio right next to her. Kiwi, ooh, just the speed difference as Giorgio flew by Kiwi into turn 1, but Kiwi right behind Giorgio. So now Kiwi is technically in net P3, I think, at this point, or net P4 if you don't count the leaders, as they're just well off out in front. Nadewell actually off the track right now. Not sure what is happening. He's actually just driving backwards. I'm not sure, but Nadewell just lost like 15 seconds. So Nadewell going off the track and losing control of his car there. And now Spanini is in the lead by himself by 10 seconds.
Off the track again? Question mark? Are we seeing this too?
Either he is, it looks like his wheel, he's just having wheel issues. You see him moving his wheel back and forth, so his wheel just may not be working correctly. Nadewell, who had a disconnect at Hungary when he was fighting for the win, causing him to finish in P14 after his car decides to pit with like 2 laps to go, or his AI decides to pit with like 2 laps to go. So now Nadewell, a long way to go. I'd imagine he will pit here. See Combine going into the pits. Combine almost looking like he's going to the wall with that Australian lag that he's got. Giorgio now a little over a second in front of Kiwi. Slick Goku 3 seconds behind Kiwi. So we'll see where Combine comes out relative to Giorgio and Kiwi as Giorgio goes through a really rough line through turn 17, which causes Kiwi to put that gap down to under a second, but no DRS.
And I think these two are going to make it.
On the exit, Combine should be right in the middle of both of them, but Combine on the cold tires. Will this cause him to fall out of the DRS of Giorgio here?
If that does happen, that's exactly what Kiwi does not need. As she said, yeah, as the gap is going over 1 second now, Kiwi sees the gap that was definitely going to be there for the next lap completely go away. So now the Red Bull driver will have to clear Combined and Giorgio. And some of these racing lines aren't really helping the Red Bull driver, but we'll keep it going as Combined now is back into DRS. And I'm really unsure who's the fastest driver out of these three. You know, you could say it's Giorgio. He had good pace. Combined also good pace, but is Australian, unfortunately. And then Kiwi has actually dropped out of the DRS train. So we'll see.
A really rough time going around the hairpin there, under braking, both on and traction too. So Chonk going in. Chonk may actually be well behind this train. Actually, it should be right behind Kiwi, if I'm not mistaken. Nadewell staying out.
Oh, Kiwi made DRS.
Goal staying out as well. We have yellow flags. I think that is Gunner, who just went off the track on the exit of Spoon. Nice little reset there. Spanini electing to stay out as well. Very unfortunate for Nadewell here, who has yet to pit and is only 6 seconds ahead of Giorgio when they were 10 seconds ahead of them at the front of the pack just a couple of laps ago. The Chonk right behind this train, so Kiwi in the middle of a Mercedes sandwich, as he dubbed it earlier. Combined actually losing a little bit of time to Giorgio. It looks like Giorgio's trying to push, maybe push for a gap. So right now, because of the issue with Nade, this is a fight for net P2 right now.
Kiwi definitely pushing the car a lot as Combined falls out of the DRS once again. I believe like all the problems that normally have to do with the hairpin is being in third gear throughout. I found that I was losing so much time in third gear, but second gear, completely fine. So, looks like Kiwi's gotten it right as Spanini comes into the pits. Honestly, could have gone longer if he wanted to. Excuse me. Because
the gap that he had was just unbelievable, I suppose, is a nice way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
20 seconds in front of Joel, who has yet to pit. It's 23 seconds in front of Nadewell, who was in the fight too. That's Gunner again having a bit of a moment. And Joel getting the speeding penalty as he goes into the pits. So I don't know if he can,
Nadewell. Sorry, go on.
I was about to say maybe he can't blame his brakes for that one. Joel is actually serving his penalty right now, or not. I'm not sure what just happened. It was a little laggy.
Yes, I don't know if Nadewell was sideways going into the pits, but that is what I saw. It's not. I mean, it is a tricky entry, but it's not that tricky. As let's go back on board with Kiwi here. Now we find that Combined has found himself back into the DRS. This is once again a battle for net P2. So, ups the stakes a little bit. Again, hugely unfortunate for Nadewell. Really unsure what happened there. Yeah, just probably a wheel issue if I had to guess. Combined, I guess he just loses lots of time in the two Degna curves. Like about 5/10 is what I'm seeing the gap expand here. And that's going to allow Kiwi to kind of get closer. Combined doesn't have his teammate to lean on anymore, so he's on his own for sure. So he might get it back through the spoon curves. No, he's even going to lose more time. And yeah, 1.3 seconds. Unless he can really dump the battery and all of it, he will be under threat from Kiwi.
We'll hop on board here with Kiwi as we move into turn 16 and 17 for the 14th time. Fine, still losing time to Giorgio. Giorgio doing a good job of holding that gap. So no DRS for Combined, but Kiwi too far back to make any kind of potential overtakes happen on Combined. But Combined getting himself back, just flirting with that 1 second delta to Giorgio. But just looking at our penalties right now, from P1 or from current P2 down to P10, no one has any track limit warnings. Roldy's sitting at 2. Roldy sticking with those hard tires, just praying for a safety car, which likely won't happen when we have so few people on the grid. But Kiwi getting really, really close to Combined. Looks like Combined is actually maybe looking backwards a little bit too much here because he's losing more and more time to Giorgio in front. And Kiwi definitely can smell that podium.
Yeah, I've just been... Oh, it's going to retire us in the pits. I've just been looking on board with Kiwi to see where Combined is losing all this time. And it seems to be actually the final part of the S's that is really messing him up. That's where he lost the time on this lap, as he does kind of gain time through the spoon curves. He's just about over a second. He's going to dump the battery all the way to get into DRS once again, so smart move from the Australian. And he's going to go into the chicane with a decent gap to Kiwi, so nothing really to worry about. That was not a good chicane, though, I have to say. But I don't think it was for Giorgio either. So we'll continue on. Kiwi does want to make a move, but with the DRS that Combined now has, it's going to be difficult.
So you have a little bit of a battle kind of going behind these guys. Down for P7. Slick Goku with that 10-second penalty has Kagenis and Rigraph right on his tail. Nadewell down in P12, setting the quickest lap with a 31.2. Nadewell currently riding in, I guess, net P11 with Joel having that 10-second time penalty. So, unfortunate for Nadewell here. Bind still hanging on, so doing a little bit better as we go through the first half of the lap here, not losing a ton of time to Giorgio. As he goes to the hairpin here, that Delta still doing pretty well. Giorgio maybe struggling a little bit, driving in clean air. Older tires, maybe an issue for him when we get to the end of the race here, as Giorgio is about 5% higher tire wear than Combined. Up towards the front, Sprini getting ever closer to passing Roldy before Roldy decides to pit. Roldy can actually just look to pit around this point. He can make it to the end on those medium tires. See what he decides to do. He is staying out. So Sprini will likely catch him at the end of this lap. But this battle for P2 still as spicy as ever. Not a lot of overtaking like last night when you guys were battling for that last podium spot. You guys were basically having at least one overtake a lap, with a few coming with some dive bombs at turn 16. Not a lot of stuff happening up here. Giorgio going really wide at the exit of turn 1 there.
Is what's going on with Goku? Is that a double overtake? Did I see? It might have been, because he's now behind Rigraff and Luke, as I call him. Rigraff kind of dropped out of the train, honestly. I'm not sure really what happened, but I do know he was up for the podium at one point. As we continue on, Combine definitely picking up the pace now, and I have to say, so is Giorgio. Giorgio has picked up the pace enough where he is catching Spanini. The gap last lap was 7.5. Now at 6.8, probably going to increase a little bit because of that moment just then at the hairpin. But I can imagine on another note that Kiwi is going to be a little bit frustrated. You know, Combined YouTuber is right there and still not making a move. So at some time it may get to be as desperate as a double overtake here. But the gap is not there for that right now. Espanini is just getting into the DRS. I don't know if he actually got it, but Hokage Roldi, he is definitely... Oh yeah, he did get it. He's definitely getting closer as...
Oh, Spanini!
Oh
Spanini
my
goes,
goodness.
oh my god. Okay, so now we got to keep an eye on Giorgio here. Spanini going into the wall of the pit entry. What is that delta going to be now? Because now Giorgio can actually see Spanini at the end of the straight, so a big loss of time for Spanini. About 4.5 seconds, it looks like, for him.
Whoa, as the inside goes Combined and they made contact. That was a cent and a half from Combined and it did not pay out. The gap still hasn't gone down, and in fact, that didn't really affect the fight at all. But wow, what a moment for Spanini. Only lost about 2 seconds, but definitely Code Brown moment, as John Ranger would dub it. I thought he was going to go nose into the pit wall at one point.
It really looked like that, yeah.
Yeah, he saved it.
And to his
But now
credit
look
for
at
Roldy, with this alternate strategy, he is only in P10, right behind Joel, on really nice tires. So he actually has an opportunity here, maybe close the gap to this train here, currently led by Rigraff, if he can put some nice laps in here together. That sentence made no sense, but we'll roll with it. Let's let Goku and Joel both with a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So Roldy, a nice opportunity to make some magic happen here. Let's hop on board with him as he's actually going around the outside of Joel as we head towards Spoon, going into the grass. Maybe giving him a little bit too much space, but Roldy getting in front of Joel here. So Roldy actually showing off some solid pace.
He's had the 2 best moves of this entire race so far. I'm impressed by Roldy. Not something I often say, but what a driver this guy is around Japan, I must say. And this gap, okay, I have to talk about this gap. Combined YouTuber, not Combined YouTuber, Giorgio and Spanini, it's going down. Even with the tire advantage that Spanini has, Giorgio has been catching Spanini by about 0.2 per lap. And while that's not going to translate just based off that to a complete win, he could be there as the 2 McLarens are making moves. Joel passed Hokage and Luke passed Goku.
So a little bit unfortunate for Kiwi, who actually had a bit of an error through their previous lap, actually falling out of the running order of Giorgio and Combined. So now Kiwi's going to have to push extra hard to catch back up with them. But like you said, Giorgio is actually putting in some really nice laps, actually 0.8 faster than Spanini on that most recent clean lap for both of them. So potentially, we've already seen one big mistake from Spanini. Will this delta going lower cause him to make another mistake?
There's one person that can bottle a 10-second lead. It's Ethan Patel. But Spanini knows Ethan Patel, so I wonder if, it'll just translate over. Hopefully they haven't been spending too much time as of recent because, the Ethan wisdom can pollute one's mind, one would say. So 0.5 the gap for Combined and Giorgio. I think the last thing they need to do, honestly, is fight. But I guess if Combined does have a pace advantage as he has his Australian moments here, then he'll want to overtake. He is gaining quite a bit on the straight, but I guess he's not going for it. As, Kiwi has separated from this pack, unfortunately, as Chonk is right behind the Red Bull driver now. Still, we look down towards turn 1 as Rigraff keeps ahead of Luke, but Luke may make a move soon. Nadewell trying to salvage some points after what happened earlier in the race, and, you know, every right to do so.
Man, Roldy's still being really racy. Oh, Joel with a huge snap there. It looks like he's getting overtaken. Just losing the rear of the car there, and he just goes straight off the track. So, and now he falls to the back of the order, as he would have done anyway with that penalty. So a rough race from Joel. I wonder if he's still having a few brake issues. Nadewell showing off some really nice pace, as he is just way faster than everyone else on the track right now, including Spanini, who is still actually lapping slower, slightly slower than Giorgio. So Giorgio is still pumping in some really nice laps. But Nadewell actually going for the fastest lap again. I think that is Joel again. A little bit slow through the hairpin. His car just completely covered in dust, as he has taken several excursions off the track here.
Yeah, as I'm just watching Spanini like a hawk now to see if he'll make any errors, but so far it looks like he's been doing okay. The gap still going down, as you said, about to go under 4 seconds now. Combined YouTuber completely dropped it, it seemed, at the chicane. So now he'll drop back as his teammate looks to go forward on Kiwi. 7% battery, 8% now. Holds back. Smart move, I have to say. Hokage Roldy making some moves, but also making too many track limit violations. So penalty for the Aston Martin driver. As we go on here, Chonk already gaining back to 40% battery. So that's kind of what the power of the regen does for you here. As combined YouTuber, as I said before, looks like he's dropped out of the DRS. He might get it now, but he needs to keep it together through these corners that we know he's had problems through before. So can the Mercedes driver keep him composed for a possible P2, or will he have to settle for P3 at best?
So on the previous lap, we finally saw Spanini kind of do a decent lap. He's kind of been struggling on these, I think, ever since he had that moment where he almost went into the pit barrier. And his pace has been not so impressive. Nadewell, again, is just flying right now. His pace is basically unmatched as he's trying to overtake Slick Goku on the exit of the hairpin. Not a lot of space here. Dumping his battery, maybe looking for a movement as we go into Spoon. He's just sending it. Driving probably really frustrated. Slick Goku just driving off the track and letting him go. So Nadewell pushing incredibly hard right now, trying to recover whatever he can from this frustration of a race so far.
Goku's going to come back.
It's like he is at toe. So Slick Goku right on his tail here. We'll hop on board with him. So Nadewell will probably be very challenging. Ooh, we have a lot of smoke.
Okay. Sorry, go on.
You almost go in the back of them? Is that what's fun?
Yeah, so you were talking about smoke in front of him, but the real smoke was right behind him as Hokage drifted into the chicane, went onto the grass and just completely sideways into the first part of the chicane. But I think the frustration there for Nadewell is that Slick Goku has no front left end plate. And I would be incredibly frustrated too if I was being held up by someone with worse tires, worse damage, and a penalty in front of me. I'd be quite frustrated. But yeah, we see that gap going down again for Nadewell. It was 4.6 last lap. It's down to 2.7 now. So incredible pace from the Williams driver. But unfortunately, I don't know if there's going to be much to show for it.
So 2 positions still potentially within his reach before the end of this race. With the current pace he has, Giorgio cutting that gap down to under 4 seconds again. But again, Spanini with 0 track limit warnings, so no penalties is going to be giving Giorgio any kind of lead. Actually, Spanini, what? I keep tabbing out because I keep hitting the Windows key. Here we go. Spanini losing like 4/10 just through those last couple of corners. Spanini's losing a little bit of confidence here, or maybe having some other issue. Because that was a very odd amount of time to lose there. But 3.5, what is going on? Is Giorgio just nailing these laps? 31.4 for Giorgio there. That's his fastest lap of the entire race. So, of his entire race, excuse me, setting the fastest the fastest third sector of the entire race so far, beating Spanini by 8/10, but having a big moment as he goes through turn 2, losing a few tenths there. So all of that for naught. Roldy setting the fastest lap down in P10. Catching back up with Slick Goku. Big graph. Overtaking Kagenis around the outside of turn 1.
Actually, it was down the inside and he just went super deep. But I was watching what happened through the chicane with Spanini and why he lost so much time in that specific spot. And I have to say, it was just like super slow on the exit. You know, very late to put the power down, and that was the issue. And then he had another. No, it was Giorgio who had the moment through turn 2, wasn't it? And still just gaining time is Giorgio through the exit of, I have to say, nearly every corner. But as he's pushing the car a little bit more, he's got worse tires. So Spanini, I mean, on paper he has the advantage, but with our eyes, I think we can tell that Giorgio is faster right now.
That big gap that he and Nadewell built up is definitely doing a lot for him. We only have 5 laps to go. It looks like Kiwi and Chonk going to battle here as we head towards turn 16. Chonk going defensive a couple of times there and going really deep into turn 16. Kiwi going to go with a really nice exit here. Should actually blow by Chonk quite easily here. Chonk going really defensive all the way to the inside wall, causing Kiwi to have to use a lot of her battery. So she's going to go around the outside as we head into turn 1. So Kiwi getting that position from Chonk after Chonk overtook her about 2 laps before. Nadewell now within the DRS of Rigraff as he goes through turn 1. Getting past Kagenis there on that previous lap. So P6 in sight for Nadewell, and he is still flying. His pace is still incredible.
Yeah, through these corners you can just see the pace difference for the Williams driver. You know, could make an overtake into the hairpin, but after that he's got 7 seconds to catch Chonk in front of him. And, you know, I think he could do it. Or, not Chonk, sorry. It's Rigraff in front. Oh, no, I was right. Sorry, Chonk. But, yeah, other than
laps,
that.
It looks like, yeah, just probably not enough laps. Yeah, Nadewell just lapping in the 31. Sprini stepping up the pace a little bit, also in the 31s. Most of the grid right now is lapping in the 32s or 33s. So, everyone kind of falling out of order here. So Kiwi and Chonk really the only battle here. The podium has basically been decided as Combined and Giorgio are now in no man's land behind Spanini. But Chonk and Kiwi still going at Rinsler getting a penalty, which may not actually affect his finishing position because of the 10-second penalties of Slick Goku and Joel. Yellow flags linked of Joel at Spoon. So Joel definitely struggling, showing some nice pace at moments today, but not having a very smooth race. And Chonk getting by Kiwi heading into turn 1. I think that's what you were leading to. And then behind them, Nadewell going around the outside into turn 1. Rigraff basically no chance to fight that as Nadewell has the help of that DRS. So 7 seconds for Nadewell to catch up with Kiwi. But with only 3 laps to go, likely not going to be able to close that gap. We'll see. Maybe just all it takes is one small little battle between Chonk and Kiwi. And Nadewell, who's already almost dropped a second to Kiwi just in the first sector, may actually have an opportunity to catch these guys. Holy moly, that delta is dropping fast. Nadewell setting the fastest first sector there, so he is pushing like a madman.
Not even using the overtake, too. It's just pure pace here as Joel comes into the pits for soft tires. But yeah, just through every corner, it seems that Nadewell has a massive pace advantage, gaining another nearly 3/10 through these corners. So definitely a man on a mission right now, but I don't know if the mission really has a good reward at the end of the day.
Hey, more points is more points, you know?
Yeah. As Giorgio is nearing this 3-second gap, and I think you did mention, though, that Spanini has no warnings on his record. So unless something goes incredibly wrong for the Alpine driver, it should be a win.
Nadewell setting the fastest lap, so Nadewell is flying right now is what we can see. Will Joel be one of those dweebs that steals the fastest lap from Nadewell and previously held by Roldy, who are in the top 10, so they would score that point? Will Joel steal it from them by just pitting on the sauce because he's a bum and can't stick to everyone behind it or in front of him? Let's see. So really the only fight that's really happening right now is we're watching this battle between Chonk and Kiwi and then the potential charge from Nadewell to catch up with them before the final lap.
Another 6/10 out of the first sector, and going to be even more now. That's 9/10 in one sector. It's just incredible. I mean, you can see that, you know, he'll have hot lap overtake mode or battery mode on his car at sometimes, but it's almost like he's throwing his entire car and his entire being into hot lap mode here. 4.4 from when the gap was 5.8 at this part of the lap last time around. Doing a great job right now.
So Kiwi kind of flirting with that 1 second delta to Chonk, but hanging on for now. You're going to have 2 more laps to go when they finally cross that start-finish line here in just a couple of corners. Spinini still holding about a 3-second gap to Giorgio, so he is going to win this race, barring any kind of error from Spinini. I'm sure Spinini has had a lot of unluckiness when leading races in other leagues in recent times. So if he were to have a moment and lose his lead here, it might be an unrecoverable error, unfortunately. But it looks like, honestly, from with Delta now with Nadewell, Kiwi, and Chonk, Nadewell maybe just at that point where he just has no more tire to use to push. He really isn't at that much of an advantage at this point.
Yeah, it's almost as if he burned up his entire tire in a couple laps, but I guess it wasn't to any bad effect. You know, he certainly did get the time.
He is sitting at 2 warnings, so it's possible he maybe have backed off on the pushing a little bit so he doesn't lose the current position that he's sitting in, but 5 seconds to Rigraff. I mean, he actually a ton of time gain there, so actually now under 3.5, and there's Joel stealing the fastest lap with his soft tires outside of the top 10. 40 seconds behind Rensler and P11. But here we go. Kiwi still kind of far back. Chonk holding this gap to Kiwi quite well.
And I have to wonder if that's strategic from Kiwi or if it's strategic from Chonk. You know, who's actually the smart person here? You know, the gap definitely not able to make a move there as Kiwi has a moment on the exit. Could well mean the exit of the DRS here. Still on, but having to use all the battery. And for the final lap, I don't think Kiwi's going to have enough battery to make the charge. As
Getting in front of Ganis going off the track there, just doing a little pirouette on the exit of turn 17.
Spanini-esque.
But you say that, man. Giorgio is actually now almost 2 seconds behind Spanini, so Spanini definitely must be doing some very heavy lifting here to not throw his race away. He must be just being super cautious, as this delta is going to be under 2 seconds as we go out of the hairpin here. Spanini just being so cautious, using third gear through the hairpin like you were saying, rather than the second gear. And Giorgio gaining a little bit more time. With a couple more laps, Giorgio may have actually been able to catch up with Spanini. But this is the last lap. We'll hop on board here with Spanini. Hopefully he doesn't make any issues. Just a couple more corners. Just 130R, 16-17, and that's pretty much it. That delta down to 1.7, which at one point was at 10 seconds.
Here we go through the final chicane for the Alpine driver. And no moment here for Spanini. So it looks as if it's going to be a win for the Alpine driver. At the end, Giorgio, 1.1 seconds from when, as you said, it was 10 seconds. Combined, going to flick all over the finish line here to finish P3. Chonk does finish ahead of Kiwi. Nadewell, after trying to make a charge, is going to have a moment at the final chicane and end up P6.
He ran out of fuel. That's why he backed out.
Oh.
He ran out of fuel right at the line. So that makes sense why he backed out. He had to maybe try to save a little bit. So, Goku with a 10-second time penalty. Kagenis should inherit that position.
So does Rensler.
So he falls all the way down to P11, and then Joel, 40 seconds behind everyone else, stealing the fastest lap from both Roldy and Nadewell. I'm down here, driving in P12 on some softs. Another half a lap.
Throw it into the wall. But no, I think he's definitely not going to be benefiting from the penalties that Goku has. As here we go, he takes a Latifi line through there.
Reset. Someone report him. Somebody report him. He reset the track.
Yep. Oh well, good entertainment to round it out. He's probably going to flick it across the line here, or just go slow. But there's your Japanese Grand Prix, I guess.
That does it for that. So, congratulations to Panini for finally getting that win. Just had to get lucky that everyone else that Nadewell had those technical issues. But a win is a win, regardless of what happened. Take what you get, you know. Doesn't matter if everyone else gets diarrhea that day and you automatically win by default. It's still a W.
Big thanks for that specific wording. um, yeah, it seemed like a lot of people did have diarrhea. I didn't have any hosses to cheer for today, as I don't even have particles on, so it's just like they're thrusting their champagne bottles at each other and nothing's coming out, but that's your podium. And yeah. So let's go down the order one more time. Spanini is P1, as he should be. Giorgio 1.1 behind, but P2 for him. The two Mercedes 3 and 4. Kiwi P5, and then Nadewell P6. Rigraf went P7 ahead of his teammate Hokage, who had, honestly, a pretty underrated race. Alternate strategy, and then having some good moves. Good job from him. And then Luke in the McLaren P9, then Rinsler P10. Slick Goku 11th, is Julgran P12, and Gunner P13, and me P14.
That's a heroic drive from Nathan on the controller. So let's see. So we have Spanini in the waiting room, but we'll see if we can't get combined or Giorgio in there. You guys can see the final order there. Like we said, our Giorgio combined Giorgio and then Spanini as our finishing order. Giorgio just completely MIA, I suppose. So we'll just move on. I guess Giorgio not joining. And for his first podium this season, we have the Australian legend, combined YouTuber. How are you doing, combined?
I'm good.
Now, we did see a couple of moments in there where it seemed like the one thing we kind of noticed, we kind of harped on a lot during the broadcast, was it seemed like when you were trying to chase Giorgio after you guys had pit, there were moments where it seemed like you were gaining a lot of time through the final back straight and through the final couple of corners, but then you would lose time or look like turn 7 and through the Degner corners and maybe in the hairpin. Do you think that was just a bit of a setup difference, or were you just kind of struggling through those corners?
I think in general I was struggling through there because of control things, but yeah, Giorgio was pretty quick at the end, and he just dashed off at the very end, so I couldn't get him. So I just settled for third in the end, and yeah, it's been a while since I've been here.
Yeah, man, you had, and at least of all of our D2 drivers, you had the fastest pace test, so definitely a lot of expectations, also being the number 1 pick for Mercedes. So it's nice to finally see you on the podium.
Well, that's probably a bit of an outlier because obviously I know there are people quicker than me in general. It's just how the sign-up worked out, I guess, but I'm still definitely honored that I was first pick.
All right, that's a really nice attitude. Now, next week, combined, we have Bahrain. Have you done much Bahrain on this game yet?
Bahrain, it's a tricky track, with the traction and stuff. So it could be interesting. I've done a little bit, like not on this current update though. But so yeah, it'll be a very interesting race, I think.
All right, well, hey, congratulations on that podium, combined, and we look forward to a few more this season. So good luck.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right. We actually do have our P2. Okay, we don't.
Oh.
Never mind. He's gone. Never mind.
All right.
It's no Giorgio.
Spanini in, I guess.
I guess it is. And finally, after 37 races on F124 and 37 bottle jobs, Spanini has finally put himself at the top step of the podium. Mr. Sanjay, how do you feel after that race?
Uh, Happy that at least I got something, but it wasn't a very clean race on my part. So there's still a lot of improvements that could be done.
We did hop
At
on board
one
with
point,
you. Oh, yeah, when you went
yeah, I was gonna
sideways.
say,
And
yeah, yeah. I had a feeling you guys were watching me then. It's like that's classic commentary's curse right there. Yeah, no, it's just like I got on the throttle and then no grip, and I easily could have hit my front wing and my wheel right into that pit entry wall, but I like yoinked my steering wheel at the last second, so it hit the back of my car instead and didn't do any damage, luckily. So yeah, I got away with that, but I did drop like 3 seconds. So and then after that, I just was not taking that corner the same. I think every lap, Giorgio is like gaining half a second on me. Man, it was yeah, it was a little stressful at the end, but it was still a good race. I feel bad for Nate. I don't know what happened to him, but
it looked
we
like
were
he
having a
had
clean.
a bit of a wheel issue. It looked like he was trying to figure out why his force feedback stopped, so he went off track a couple of times. But
Oh no.
some really nice pace at the end there. Where so we kind of saw, even though you had your big moment and you kind of went sideways and almost crashed into the pit entry, um, were you just kind of just taking it easy through those last few laps?
Oh,
Because
oh yeah.
Giorgio was just cutting that gap like crazy.
I think he was genuinely fast because you could see he was gapping, like he was creating a gap between himself and Combine.
Mhm.
So I think he while I was just talking to him, he was saying like he put his fastest laps at the end there. Um, so I mean, he did a good job on those tires at the end. But I also was just trying to make sure I don't risk it. Like it was like 3 seconds. Like I would have to like seriously mess up for him to catch up to me and then also overtake me at that point. So no, I was just making sure I just got to the end. I was pretty much every time I crossed the finish line, I was like, all right, 10 laps left. All right, 9 laps left. Like I was my own enemy at the end there, but yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was fun, but at the same time, it was pretty lonely. I think only cars I saw was Nade, and after Nade, I saw Hokage, and then that was it. Except for like the imminent threat that was Giorgio behind me. But yeah, I mean, finally, I think this is my like first win since the 21 game season 3
Oh yeah,
USA. It was
your
so
legendary
long ago.
your legendary battle with Mr. Sandunga,
Yeah, the legend himself. Where has he
legend
been?
himself,
Dunga.
probably made better life decisions than the rest of us have. So, all right, well, Spanini, congrats on that win, dude. We know we're not going to have you next week, so we'll have to find someone else to host. But
Yep.
we will see how that goes. Oh, we actually have Giorgio, so congrats, Spanini. We're going to boot you out of here. So congrats again,
Already.
and yeah. And in P2 we have the mysterious legend himself, Giorgio. Man, how are you doing after that?
Into PlayStation. Well, if I can. It's not letting me.
Oh, we can
Just
hear
give
you,
me-
man. Yeah.
Okay, looks like it's not going to let me transfer to PlayStation. Let me just.
All right, he's
Well,
he's.
we do
I don't
hear
know
you,
what's going on.
Giorgio. I guess you can't
Yeah.
hear us. So how about this, Giorgio? Let's try this.
Sorry, I'm having such a beamer moment. I can't pull it on
Yeah.
speaker.
Are you able to hear us though?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm kind of using it as a normal phone. I can't find the
Alright.
speaker button.
You sound great, man. So hey,
Yeah.
congrats on that P2, dude. You had some wild pace there at the end. We saw you kind of get caught up a little bit in something too early on, to kind of pull you away from the leaders. Was there any kind of big incident between you and anyone else?
No big incident. And there was I was trying to keep in DRS range, so I was pushing, and haven't played the game for 2 weeks, and I've done no race practice. So quick degrading mediums and having no practice with heavy roll loads, I kind of pushed it too hard. Went on the curb, went onto the grass. What put me in a battle with Chunk then. Then I tried going outside of the Chunk, but kind of not like it wasn't really an instant. We kind of just slightly tapped wheels and had to go off track again.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably lost around like 8 seconds.
So one thing we did kind of see was you kind of did the exact same strategy as Race Day did yesterday in the D1 race, and he was able to make a really nice undercut on everyone, even though it didn't work out for him in the end. Were you guys communicating a little bit about your strategies to kind of just do the same thing and then wind up with more success than he had yesterday?
I've seen it in chats when to pit, so I was gonna actually pit a lap later, but I'm glad I didn't, because I thought I was stuck in traffic. I'll pit a lap before and end up undercutting everyone and keeping consistent pace. Then got me a nice P2.
Yeah, you did. All right. Well, next week, Giorgio, we have Bahrain. Have you done any Bahrain on this game?
No, I don't think I actually have. That's the one track I haven't.
All right. Well, we look forward, man, to seeing what you are able to do
Yeah.
with a little week of practice, man. So good luck next week. And again, congratulations on that podium.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, hopefully my results can turn around from here.
Yeah. All right. All right, Nathan. So that does it for that brilliant 13 driver action of D2. Hopefully we have a little bit better attendance next week. I guess everyone decided to go on vacation this weekend but didn't tell us. So I don't know.
Sorry for my tardiness once again. I forgot I had something, but it
No
was a
worries.
joy with you again.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, so I mean, that's it. So I guess we'll kind of call it. So everyone have a nice night.